Hello, everyone, and welcome to the League One Lowdown. We are live on YouTube, and if you're listening on audio platforms, we'll be there in a very short while after we are live here, giving our immediate reaction and thoughts to the first leg of the Sky Bet League One playoff semi-final between Leyton Orient and Stockport County. Finished 2-2, a very chaotic game. I think we were a little bit worried that maybe there wouldn't be much to talk about from the first legs. Well, we've got absolutely heaps to talk about. And we'll dive in a minute or two. Seb, first of all, how are you on this very nice Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, the sun is shining, and yeah, loads of football in action in terms of the game that we've just seen. But yeah, doing really well, thank you. How about you, Jamie?
Yeah, good as well. And I think we've all been sort of bounced up and bettered by that game of football we've just watched. Because it was, I said, chaotic. It's been a really cracking game to kick off these League One playoffs. Of course, we'll be doing these live reactions after all four of the semi-finals. You'll be back again tomorrow, Seb,
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Charlton against Wickham. Alongside Sam, who has been, of course, at the Leyton Orient game. And we'll get into that game now. If you are watching live on YouTube, do put in any questions, any comments, thoughts below, and we'll react to those as well. But we'll talk about, I guess, the game first of all, as an overall really great game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Had a bit of everything really. Had a few dodgy referee decisions. Had good sort of attacking phases. Had some bullet defensive headers. Exactly what you'd expect in a League One game. Proper end-to-end stuff at times. Plenty of chances for either teams. Plenty of cagey moments as well for either teams. And yeah, a real good spectacle and a great advocate for League One football. And it set off the League One playoffs on a great note, really. I think we knew that the two sides going into it were going to be, we know what we've seen them play all year. We know what they're going to bring, but the playoffs are a different sort of spectacle, really. But both teams brought their A game, and yeah, I guess credit to both teams for that in the first place, and also credit, I guess, for both teams as well for coming back at separate points in the game as well. But yeah, great spectacle, great game. And as Sam said in our little group chat, we've got a great advert for League One football.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good point. It is a great advert for League One football, barring the refereeing, you would say. And we've got a couple of comments early on. Tommy saying, "Are these professional refs?" We'll get on to that. And Steve, the first Orient goal was a disgrace. And as I say, we will talk about the refereeing, but I think it's nice to focus on the positives of what was a really exciting game of football. Charlie Coleman scored the first, which was the first controversial aspect of it, with the offside nature of that goal. And then Stockport got one back. Oliver Norwood, a really lovely Oliver Norwood cross, bringing the goal there. And then the game just kept going. It just kept giving, didn't it? The game, and a couple of penalties as well. I mean, it had a little bit of everything. And I know you wanted to mention Oliver Norwood in particular. A very good performance for him. I guess we'll talk about him before we do the refereeing side of things. He's a great player and a really key aspect of this team.
Yeah, he impressed me massively. 34 years of age. I mentioned him in a couple of our review podcasts me and Jamie have recorded over the course of the season. But I just think he stood up there, really. I think he absolutely showed his experience. He was at the centrepiece of quite a lot of the Stockport attack, sort of the quarterback role, if you like, sort of pinging balls down either flank of Stockport. And then, I guess, stepping up when it really mattered, stepping up to take the penalty for the equaliser. Nice finish right into the corner. Keeper went the same way, but actually, when you sort of get that direction that Norwood did, and you get that power behind it, like Norwood did, he's taken so many penalties in his career that you need that penalty to go in, and that's exactly what it did. And then in the end, it spurred them on even further. And actually, then it was Norwood's cross that was headed in for the second Stockport goal as well, a header there that came in from Horse fall from the Norwood free kick. So yeah, sort of involvement in both goals, sort of sitting, in the centre of midfield, but actually at times dropping quite deep as well to almost make it a three centre halves ish for Stockport at times. But yeah, brilliant performance from my point of view in terms of Oliver Norwood. Your goal and an assist, and he can be very pleased. And just showing his experience away from home in the first leg of the playoffs. Yeah, brilliant performance from my perspective.
Yeah, no, he was absolutely fantastic. So he took the penalty that brought the first goal. The keeper went the right way to the goalkeeper's right, but it nestled really into that corner, didn't it? It was unstoppable in a way. That was a handball, that penalty, and that one you couldn't really have any
Yeah,
disagreement with in terms of the referee's decision. It was Maradona-esque. I put in my notes. That was the sort of it was hand in the air from Edmund Green, and he just palmed the ball clear as day for the referee. And then the second goal was a really lovely free kick from Oliver Norwood straight onto Horsfall, as you mentioned, who lashed it. I think it headed, wasn't it, into the
yeah,
roof
yeah,
of the net. And then we obviously the next penalty, Charlie Coleman slotted away in another one that was handball. This time, Horsfield, the sort of the hero with that Horsfall, the hero with that second goal, became the villain, if you like, giving away the penalty. And I guess we can't prolong it any longer in terms of talking about the officiating, because there's three big incidents, isn't there, in terms of what the two penalties and the first Charlie Kelman goal. There was a penalty shout as well about the 75th minute for Leyton Orient. I guess we would take them in order, shall we, and talk about that goal to begin with. I don't think I've seen a worse decision in a playoff game like this in terms of the Charlie Kerman goal. He was a good 3 yards offside. The ball comes in, and what the linesman, the referee between them have both missed is the flick on from Beckles. Because without the flick on, or if the flick on's come from a Stockport County player, then he's onside. But the flick on has diverted the ball to Charlie Kelman. He slots it in a nice finish. But the fact that both the referee, who had a great view in terms of being able to see that there was a flick on, and the linesman haven't been able to piece together between them that is what's happened is absolutely beyond me. And in a League One playoff semi-final, you need much better officiating than that.
yeah, yeah. And just to echo some of these comments here, we've just seen Caden disgrace. How is that first goal allowed? We had Stephen mention earlier on that the first Orient goal was disgraceful. Tommy as well mentioning, are these professional refs? Well, yes, they are professional refs, I must add. But you're right in terms of in the one of the biggest games of the season to make that kind of error in the, I guess, yeah, in the mantra that they did, in the way that it was so obviously offside. It's not one of those where, could it, couldn't it? It was miles offside. It was there was a great distance in terms of Kelman being in that offside position. Yeah, there's just a comment here. There should be automatic offside for these games. Not that you can play well, of course not. But you're right in terms of
A Leyton Orient fan there.
yeah, I'm sure if that happened against the Leyton Orient side, then you would say other things. But absolutely agree in terms of we see VAR in the playoff finals. Perhaps maybe why don't we see that in the semi-finals? Equally as big a games, I guess maybe. But yeah, in terms of that first goal itself, really poor. The flick on has come from Omar Beckles, and yeah, Kelman, despite the qualities he had and despite his goal scoring record, is clearly in an offside position. And how the assistant referee hasn't seen it, I've no idea. How the referee sort of, the Stockport players are all up there with your hands up, and usually can tell, if the defence have a bit of a sneaky feeling they might be onside, they tend to give a bit of a half-hearted call or just tend to don't say anything. Actually, all of the Stockport back line sort of wave their hands as if ref, liner is off, off sort of thing. But even still, nothing was given. So yeah, that is really shocking in one of the biggest games of the season to see that sort of level of refereeing error. It's almost a bit of an embarrassment to the league, really, in terms of we mentioned a high quality game and the chances it brought and the entertainment value it brought as well. But actually, the level of refereeing that comes with that is disappointing, and it isn't really a good reflection on the league at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we mentioned Sam earlier, of course, at the game, saying that it was a great advert for League One, and it was in every aspect, apart from the refereeing, which was a real damning indictment of the EFL and of the division in particular in terms of that decision. I guess the other ones, we'll take the penalties that were given in turn. The first one, the Stockport County penalty, no arguments there, I'm sure.
Yes, yeah. I'm just trying to remember. There were so many different penalty shouts, but yes, the Stockport, and that was the handball. That one, wasn't it? In the Leyton Orient back line. Yeah, I think that was a penalty for sure. And
Yeah,
as I
I think
said,
there's no
no one
argument there.
stepped up well.
Edmund Green is sort of his hand above his head, and there's a good distance between himself and the ball being kicked. So yeah, that one is a fairly obvious one. The other one, again for me, this one has been a little bit more debate. And with the commentary, Lee Hendry was on the commentary, and he wasn't too pleased with this one. I think more given the proximity, but the ball is it comes in. It's an Ajayi cross, and it deflects up, and Horsfall is sort of spread out. He's got one arm down to his side, one arm up in the air, and it hits the arm up in the air, which is an unnatural position. And it's only a couple of yards really from the ball being deflected, but unnatural position, and that's the ruling, really, isn't it? Your hands in those sort of positions that penalties are going to get given.
Yeah, it's one of those where he can't really put his hand anywhere else, but actually he's made his body bigger and he's made it sort of, it's a handball, it's his hand. So it is a penalty in the laws, I guess, to have a bit of sympathy with the Stockport defender. As I mentioned, he can't really put his arm anywhere else because of he's sort of lifting his body up, and naturally when you lift your body up, your arms go up as well. But he's made himself bigger. And blocking the ball with his hand, then the referee is right to give it a penalty. I can see why Lee Hendry was a bit more, 50-50, unsure about it, because it's one of those where, yeah, we have perhaps, seen him sort of waved on and saying, he could put his arm elsewhere, or, the ball came to him or anything like that. But I think it is a penalty. And I think there's a couple more decisions for both sides that could have been given as penalties as well. There was a late challenge on, I can't remember, one of the Stockport attackers from Leyton Orient. That probably should have been a penalty as well. So, yeah.
I think the one you're alluding to there, 75th minute, the penalty shout for Leyton Orient. Oliver Norwood, it was a little bit late on Charlie Kelman.
Yeah.
A clip. For me, I don't think that one's a penalty. I guess that one's the other one with the big debate, because I think most people are agreeing with the two handballs, especially the first one. The offside, everybody believes, rightfully so, that it was offside. And then the one that's a little bit in the middle, that grey area, if you like, is the one that wasn't given. In terms of Oliver Norwood, it's a little bit of a clip on Charlie Kelman, but I think he's wanting the contact. And for me, he's sort of putting his foot in that position rather than Oliver Norwood coming to him. I don't think that one's a penalty, but do you agree?
Yeah, we've probably seen those given. It probably might have been soft had it been given, but yeah, I don't know. One of those where you see it once, you think penalty, then you see it again, you think, oh, not sure, then you see it again, oh, maybe, but yeah, Norwood is late. There's no denying of that fact, but I think he probably wins the ball just about, and you're right, he's probably just more of a minor clip. I guess one thing we've not mentioned that Steve just mentioned in the chat is that at one point there was sort of double headlock, I guess, in the
strange, that one,
in the box, where referee gave none of them. Again, Lee Hendry in co-commentary saying that was a penalty. I think it would have been benefiting Stockport, if my memory is right. I think both central defenders from Stockport were up, including Horsfall there as well, and Pye were both sort of being held, and the referee gave none of them. But again, stuff like that, we have seen penalties given for that. Referee was Ben Speedy, perhaps thought he'd given away too many penalties for one game, maybe. I don't know.
I think that one was a bit sort of 6-1, half of the other, wasn't it? It's one of those I don't think you see given it. Maybe you see them getting given at the Premier League, and Lee Hendry, he doesn't do too many, as far as my knowledge, these sort of League One, League Two games. And I don't know, maybe he's in the Premier League. There probably are 4 penalties in that game. But in League One, I think the two that were given are the 2 that were. And the other arguments, I don't think, for me anyway, were penalties. I guess just sort of swing us back to the actual game. I mean, you can get bogged down in terms of all the decisions and that sort of thing. But it distracts really from what was a great, very competitive game of football, and it was very even. Both teams 11 shots. Stockport with 5 on target to Leyton Orient's 4. And I mean, you look at every single stat, and they're all really, really quite similar. And Sam in the chat has made a nice comment about Dave Chandler, who was absolutely furious at half time. There was a nice camera on him,
as well,
down the tunnel. Yeah, rightfully so. And he made some changes when Stockport were 2-1 up that didn't help. And it was one of those games. It was just very watchable, wasn't it? And Tommy again in the chat saying it was a great game, and ruined a little bit, I guess, by the focus that these decisions are going to take. But it was 2 teams really going at it, and it's what you want to see from a playoff game, especially a first leg. That it's 2 teams really going after it, not scared to sit not scared and sitting back, being cautious, that they're willing to have a real go. And the back five, well, I guess the three for Stockport didn't work at times, did it? And they seemed to sort of tweak that as the game went on. And they were very more successful, I think, for me, before I hand back to you, in terms of running in the channels. And Wooten, especially early on, they got a bit of focus pre-match.
Yes.
Some of the runs he was making through the channels, that was the danger aspect for Stockport. The goals in the end didn't come in that route, but it was just a very watchable game. And both teams looked like they was going to score every time they sort of rushed forward, counter-attacks on transitions a lot. It looked like goals were going to come, and yeah, it's very watchable, really, the game.
Yeah, very watchable. You mentioned there Wooten. He had the I guess the biggest chance of the game. The biggest opening chance of the game, really, coming in from that right hand channel, as you said, sort of come inside. And for me, he should have cut it back. I think there was a fellow, I think it was a Laffey on the edge sort of the box. There was a fellow Stockport player to cut it back to. Instead, he's gone for the near post shot, and it saved pretty easily by Keeley in the Leyton Orient goal. But yeah, for me, yeah, similar sort of thing as sentiments as you say. Every time they came forward, both sides looked like scoring. We mentioned Wooten, we mentioned Norwood top hitting those diagonal balls forward, but then for Leyton Orient as well. We know the quality that Adji and Kelman bring, and we know that every time they have the ball, they look dangerous. Williams, for me, was a bit of a threat as well. Brandon Williams on in the left wing back position. So yeah, across both sides, there's glimpses of quality from the players on the pitch, and yeah. It was a great display, great advert for League One football, and yeah, really attacking, which is what we want to see. A lot of time, perhaps when Leyton Orient went 1-0 up, they could have easily sat back, gone into the second leg with 1-0. Obviously, having the home advantage in the first leg, Leyton Orient, that is, they could have gone into the second leg with that 1-0 win. It's a bit cagey, but then they could have just sat back in the second leg. But obviously, it wasn't to be. Stockport came back, and credit to them. So credit to them for coming back as well, and then credit to Leyton Orient for coming back even more so. So a back and forth game, really. And
roller coaster game.
Exactly. Credit both sides for coming back and, play. He looked actually to be Stockport to win. They looked to, 2-1 with quite a lot of the game to play. And then, yeah, Kelvin stepped up late with a late penalty. So, yeah, that changes the whole dynamic of things, really, going into the second leg, but also of the game in general. There was a quick celebration from Kelman, but then actually it was a bit of a realisation we've not won the game yet, and there is still time, I guess, to get the ball back on the halfway line and let's get play restarted quickly, because they would have much rather have this 2-2 scoreline than go away from home into second leg 2-1 down.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I guess a few stats to be honest, some very interesting ones in terms of Leyton Orient have never lost at home in a playoff game. That continues, and Stockport have never won away in a playoff game, and that continues. I mean, I guess you usually get these where one will happen and someone will break their duck, but obviously the draw sort of keeps them both alive. And they were the two informed teams going into the playoffs, with Leyton Orient 6 wins in a row and Stockport unbeaten in 8 and just the one defeat in 13 heading into the game. Charlton themselves not in poor form by any stretch of the imagination, but these were the two in the best form really heading into the playoffs, and it's great that transpired into the game itself in terms of how open it was. Before we come on to talking about a quick glance onto the second leg for our sort of last point, it is worth, and of course you've got to talk about Charlie Kelman, a brace in this game, the top goal scorer across the season in League One, and he's just pops up at the right time, doesn't he? I feel like you can go for a game and you don't see him too often. He's always where he needs to be in those big moments, and he's never controlling the game. We talked about Oliver Norwood earlier. He was pulling the strings throughout, and he was part of everything good for Stockport. And Charlie Kelman, he just gets on the end of everything for Leyton Orient, and how crucial that is, especially in a game like this, that you can rely on him. Yes, one was offside. Yes, the other was a penalty, but he's taking those big moments, and under pressure, he doesn't know he's offside in that moment, and he's putting the ball in the back of the net, and the penalty under pressure scoring that. I mean, it was a really good performance from him, as usual, really.
Yeah, great. Before today, it was 20 league goals in the entire league campaign, but he's obviously added two to his tally. So there's 22 goals from 47 games across the League One campaign, and 5 assists in that as well. He's an absolutely star man for Leyton Orient. He's the focal point, and he's proved once again today, I guess, his importance of stepping up when these chances are presented to Leyton Orient. The person you want there is Charlie Kelman, and he's had two. The first finish, by the way, is not an easy finish at all when the ball's coming over the top, and it's a really nice takedown past Adai in the Stockport net. It's a really nice takedown and really, really good finish actually. In fairness to him, but yeah, he doesn't know he's in an offside position. He could have easily sort of squandered it. When you are so close to goal, sometimes the added pressure when they see the goalkeeper so close. There's lots of stuff going on, but to keep his composure, despite being in offside position, and put it in the back of net, superb. And the penalty as well. I mentioned earlier on, it goes into the second leg, it changes the game completely. If he'd have missed that, then it is a different story, really. And then the momentum is with Stockport and Leyton Orient don't have that buzz, and they've not really made advantage of took advantage of that being at home this leg. So yeah, for him to step up in two vital moments when Stockport needed him, credit to him, and that's continue what he's done all season really for me, Kelman. And yeah, one of the bright sparks in the Leyton Orient side this afternoon, as well as. I guess I mentioned Williams as well, but Beckles at the back, sort of heading and being that focal point at the back, are the two players for me too. And he grabbed an assist, Beckles as well, obviously flicking it on for Kelman's first. But yeah, those for me, the focal point at the back, Beckles, and the focal point at the front, Kelman. And yeah, continuing to show us the quality it is capable of. And I really would be surprised next season, sort of. If he was to look for a championship move, but at the minute, Leyton Orient have got him.
Let's keep the powder dry.
Hopefully, that's it. Hopefully, they've got him for 2 more games rather than 1 game.
Well, that's it. And the next game is on Wednesday, the return leg at Edgeley Park. Sam, they haven't got Sam in the chat saying that their record at Edgeley Park, Leyton Orient, is quite good. So he remains optimistic, even if Leyton Orient have never won an away playoff game. And Tommy as well in the chat saying similar things. He's expecting a good game in the return leg. Both teams going for it, which is exactly what happened in this game today. So how are we feeling heading into that second leg in terms of predictions and that sort of thing? For me, I'll let you go first in terms of offering a prediction. This is how I expected it to go in terms of it being level at the end of the first leg. And it's just been great that it was two teams really going after it to create the draw come the end. But what are you thinking heading into Wednesday, the second leg?
I thought Stockport had it, as I mentioned, so I thought they were going to go into some of the advantage, but it leaves it very open now, I guess, really, in terms of the second leg. I do think that Stockport having the home advantage will be massive. Some of the results they picked up at Edgeley Park have been really crucial for them this season. And I think that'll be a big advantage for them in the second leg, having, with the tie being level, they can get the crowd behind them. And Edgeley Park, when it's full, it's certainly a place you don't want to be in terms of if you are the away side. So, yeah, I definitely think Stockport will edge this one, but I can see it being sort of a still equally entertaining game with both sides having those opportunities. But yeah, I think Stockport at Edgeley Park, I think they are a force to be reckoned with. And for me, I think it's advantage Stockport, but I think we're going to see another entertaining game like we saw today, like sort of both sides having chances, both sides having to defend a fair bit as well. And again, yeah, continuing that attacking trend that we spoke about earlier on. And both sides will have chances, but for me, I can't look past Stockport.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with you. It's very weird reading in terms of their recent fixtures against each other. In the regular season, Stockport won 1-0 at Leyton Orient, and Orient won 4-1 at Edgeley Park, which was one of the weirder fixtures of the entire season, really, back in September. And the last time they met in the league before that, the 22-23 League 2 season, and it was 2-1 to Leyton Orient away from home, and Stockport winning 3-0 away from home as well. Of course, they couldn't continue that in terms of winning away and doing it at Brisbane Road, but I'm going to book the trend in terms of that sort of head-to-head form. and follow suit with you, Seb, and say I think Stockport will probably just have a little bit too much. Sam, I'm sure, won't be happy about that, but it's the way I saw it going in terms of it being a draw in the first leg, and then, yeah, like you said, Stockport having that little bit too much on their own patch with the crowd behind them. I'm sure it'll be a sold-out Edgeley Park for that game on Wednesday night, and Sam will be on the live stream. We will continue these for all 4 of the semi-finals. So tomorrow you're back, Seb, alongside Callum to review it 6:30 p.m. kickoff.
Alongside Sam. Callum's not here till next week. So
yes, alongside Sam.
Me and Sam tomorrow looking at the Wycombe-Charlton game.
That's if Sam's voice has recovered.
That is true, yeah. Hopefully we can sort of be chatting about a similar entertaining, high attacking football game. Again, sort of two sides that have shown quality throughout the season. More so Charlton, I guess, in the recent weeks and months, but nevertheless, expect a good game. So we'll be here just after the full-time whistle. So it'll be around 8:30 because it's a 6:30 kickoff. So it'll be around 8:30 on the League One Lowdown YouTube channel. A bit where you found this video right now. We'll be back for the live stream, myself and Sam, tomorrow around 8:30.
Yes, I'm glad you corrected me there. And yeah, do subscribe. You'll be able to be notified when we do go on these live streams. It'll be myself and Callum. It's going to be Sam, isn't it? Yeah, myself and Sam for the Leyton Orient second. We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there.
Because Sam could be either absolutely delighted or absolutely devastated. Him on the live stream on Wednesday, and then it's me and Callum for Thursday, the second leg of the Charlton versus Wycombe game. But it doesn't matter who it is, it'll be 2 of us in some sort of configuration for these games between now and the end of these playoff semi-finals. So thank you for joining us if you have live, and thank you for listening if you've been on Spotify or Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to subscribe and follow, and you'll be notified whenever these live streams drop, or, as I say, when we go live. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again tomorrow and then next week for the second legs.